Good morning. My name is Pranil. Welcome to Orchard Park Secondary School, home of FRC Team 2056. If you have any questions throughout the day, feel free to ask me. I'd like to introduce our next speakers, Ren, Danny, and Brandon from the FIRST Youth Council, presenting volunteering in FIRST.
Hi, thank you for coming to our presentation on FIRST volunteering. So this is meant to give you some ideas of how volunteering works and how you can get involved with the FIRST community. So first off, hi, my name is Ren. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm from Team 6135 Arctis.
Oh, yeah, I'm next. I'm Brandon. I'm from Team 4917 Sir Lancerbot, and I use he, him pronouns.
I'm Danny. I'm from Team 865 Warp 7, and I use they, all pronouns.
You want to do the slides?
Cool, yeah.
I have a pointer.
We do?
We don't.
We don't have a pointer. Okay. So first of all, I would like just to tell you guys about my own volunteering experience, and I'll go again. So I've done volunteering with FIRST LEGO League, FIRST Tech Challenge, and FIRST Robotics. With the LEGO League, I love refereeing and I love game announcing. And with the larger robots, I do a lot of field reset because that's a really accessible role for new people to FIRST, and I also love game announcing.
Yeah, I have just done some FLL queuing with FIRST, but as the bubble says, I've done a lot of public speaking. I've done theater since I was 5, and overall, like for my team, I do business and marketing, so I do a lot of presentations and stuff.
For FLL, I have done queuing, refereeing, and field reset. For FTC, I've done field reset and photography. And then for FRC, I've done pit admin and...
Probably field reset.
No.
Okay.
More.
The thing that was... See, I practiced this for like an hour, and now
You've done more.
I've done scoring.
Scoring.
Okay, cool. So yeah, there's many volunteer roles within FRC, FLL, FTC, within everything. So we're going to talk about a few. These are just a few pathways, and Ren will cover a few more in a second. But so the ones up here, we have judging, which you do have to be 23 to start in, and which then you can go into judge advisor a few years later as you've spent time doing judging. Then we also have refereeing. And this you have to be 19 for, and then 23 to head ref at an event. So these are the people in your black and yellowish orange shirts that stand at the center, and they're like leading all the referees. And then anyone can team queue, but then you have to be 19 to become the lead team queuer, which just helps to get robots on the field, have them where they need to be when they need to be there.
Yeah, so just to look at sort of the roles that you can get into, like just particularly team queuing is something really accessible for people like in high school, and then later on they can move up to more experienced roles.
Yeah, for sure.
So this one is a little bit more crazy. You can see there's a lot going on here. So if you've ever been to a competition, you've probably seen some of these key roles, that being the first technical advisor. They're the first person to jump out to help if you need any help. However, of course, it's a very senior role, so you have to be 19 or older, and there's a bunch of roles that you can take to lead up to that role. The one that makes the most sense is usually the first technical advisor assistant. So you're kind of shadowing the FTA and you're taking over some of their roles so that eventually you can FTA by yourself or with the support of more of your team. Additionally, those are people with the bright colored hats. Those are the robot inspectors and the control system advisors. From those roles, you really learn the problem-solving skills of how to help people either during, after, or like even before a match. So mitigating sort of problems that may arise. And from there, you gain the experience to help be an FTA. Additionally, scorekeeping. Scorekeeping can lead to either being an FTAA, so first technical advisor assistant, or a control systems advisor. From being a robot inspector, you can also become a lead robot inspector. That comes after many years of experience because you'll have the most, you'll be able to judge situations the best because of your experience. Finally, the last little path we have is field reset. This is probably one of the easiest, along with team queuing, roles to jump into as new members to FIRST, or just if you're interested in learning more about volunteering, and especially, again, if you're in high school. From field reset, you can move on to a field supervisor, and then sometimes from field supervisor, go to the first technical assistant. all that being said, there are some age limits on these things. However, FIRST is really awesome about letting you shadow certain roles. So I've been able to shadow a robot inspector despite not being, I think it's 19 years old or 18 years old, because having someone to just go through the process and show me how it works will let me do it even more efficiently when I do become 18.
And just to add, you may see some QR codes on slides. Feel free to pull out your phone if you do want more information on any of the things we talk about.
Okay. What to expect when volunteering? The first thing is fun. Volunteering is like, of course, all the programs, it is the standard, and like, especially since like when you're at an event with your team, it can be very stressful. But like volunteering has like you're still at a comp, so it still feels very similar, but it has less of the stresses, so it makes it more fun than usual comp generally. And then after you've volunteered through FIRST, which we will get into a second, you should be contacted by your volunteer coordinator, and they will assign the role, and as well as any trainings or things you need to do. And before the comp, you can just email them to ask any questions you have. And then at the comp, first thing you got to do, sign in, get your shirt, go to your role. That's all there. And then if you have any questions there, just ask any one of the volunteers there. They would be able to answer you or guide you to someone who can answer your questions. Second last thing is free food. Yay! Free food. That is one of my favorite reasons why I volunteer. And it's usually good food too. Like I don't think I've had like a bad experience with the free food, except like, I mean, it's not a bad experience. It's just like pizza. That's like the lowest, but it gets better. It gets better. And that's a good reason to volunteer if you don't want hours or anything. You want free food? Great opportunity. And then just make sure to sign out. Last thing is just because of like if you want your hours, if you want them to, it's easier if you sign out and sign, and then just repeat the process if you're going the next day, or just.
Yeah, I just want to add on to what you said. FIRST volunteers are some of the most friendly people you're ever going to meet. So if you ever have any sort of questions, usually you get to see the people who look more in charge. If they look really busy, probably don't ask them a question. But if they're like chill, they're chatting, feel free to go up to them, ask them a question, ask for clarification, ask, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Because I don't really understand. And they'll totally be there to help you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me again. So these are just all of the events. I'm not going to name all of them. There's some in Hamilton, Toronto, Waterloo. There's, I think this is a list that is not 100% confirmed. That might be the FTC one. So it might change, but no, the FTC was released and the FRC was.
This one hasn't been
So
released.
this one hasn't been released yet. It should be, when it's completely finalized, it should be released on the FIRST Canada Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And also for something for FLL that I would like to is if you're super busy during the on season, but you still want to get that experience of volunteering during your actual team years, then going to FLL and FTC competitions is a great way to do that, because then you have some of your weekends free during FRC.
And you can just see, looking at these dates, this is all during November, December, and a little bit of January. So again, not during the on season.
No.
Definitely time for you. And they're also one-day events, so they're a lot less commitment for the most part. Because some, as we'll talk about later, FRC events, they require you to come for both days because they need people to be able to commit to both days.
Yeah, and just to add on with that, looking at this, only there are 2 events that actually go into the FRC build season. So
Which is provincial.
Provincials.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
been provincials.
Yeah, and if you're just volunteering at any regional events, they're all before the build season for FRC. So
I promise you, FLL, I just
It's also
they're little kids and they're
Yeah.
so cute. Like, maybe older kids are a bit more jaded. They're like, oh, I'm too cool for this stuff. But little kids will scream. They'll be so excited because this is like the peak of their season. This is their big competition. This is where they have the most fun. So you get to be part of that experience.
And then here are some FTC competitions coming up this year. These have been released. These will be fun. Again, they are a bit earlier than FRC, so it may come into build season a little bit, with the latest being provincials on February 23rd. But other than that, they are just like, they're starting in November and then going a bit into February. So again, end of off season, beginning of build season. So you still have a little bit of wiggle room. You're not in full crunch time yet.
Yes, the last one we have, of course, is FRC. So you probably know what these events are because you're probably going to go to a few of these events, especially as FIRST Robotics participants. However, it's just awesome to know like what else is in your area if you're free that weekend, because like Danny was saying, when you go to a competition and you're not like actually participating, it's just so relaxing. Like you don't have to care about your standings because you don't have any standings. You can cheer for whatever teams you want to cheer for the underdogs, cheer for the people who are winning. Don't cheer at all if you don't want to. Get the free food and really enjoy the competition. Like it's a time for you to actually watch matches when maybe sometimes you're stuck in the pit all the time, or you don't want to, and maybe you're stuck off scouting, you're looking at one robot, and now you can just holistically watch the match and really relax. I also say it's a great way to meet people from other teams because people like volunteering at FRC events where they might know teams or have friends there. So it's a really great way for you to network. And yeah, there's, I think, a QR code, and that just teaches more details about each event. But I think right here it just shows you the name of the event and just the general location where it is.
Yeah, and something that I would like to add is, especially if you're confused about the game and you have like a week 2 or 3 comp, you can go to like volunteer at the events or just go to the events and just kind of scout or see how it's working, how the teams are, because that's something that I would have liked to do last year, but we went to a week 2 comp, so we didn't have any week 1s this year. But if that is something that would interest you to just understand the game a little bit better, that would be a useful thing to
I've
do.
never even thought about that because like I usually watch online those first few week comps, but like getting to be there and volunteer would actually get you some like close action. Yeah. Oh, this is me. So yeah, we've talked about what volunteering is a little bit, but how do you actually do it? How do you get in? So to start, you can create a First Inspires account on the First Inspires website, and you can just see a little bit about what it is. If you're in FRC, you probably already have, or FTC, you probably already have a First Inspires account. You may just need to do a little bit more setup to set up your volunteer account. Volunteers that are over 18 need to pass a youth protection program screening just to make sure that you can work with youth. It's not anything too big, just to make sure that you have a clean record. And then you can sign up for an event on the First Inspires website. And then once you have chosen some roles, once you've gone through the entire process, you can complete some specific role training that's assigned you by the by volunteer coordinators for different events. So going through doing that training, whether if you are refereeing or doing another trained position, of the sort, you just need to get a little bit of training from your volunteer coordinator, and they'll help you out a bit with that. And volunteer sign up will come out pretty soon. We're hoping, from what we've been told, in early October-ish. Yeah.
Oh, robots at scene. Okay, volunteer opportunities, specifically off-season opportunities, is one of them is Robots at CNE. I personally think this is one of the best events you can volunteer at if your team isn't competing, or if your team is competing and you're just not helping out. Is Robots at CNE. It's in Toronto. It's very accessible for people outside of Toronto because it's just one stop away from Union Station. It's at CNE. It's in the Enercare Center, which is East CNE, I would say, East CNE. It's just at the edge. So it's a great opportunity to meet people. It's because it's mostly for like community outreach. It is a competition and it does matter enough, but it doesn't matter as much because it's for the people watching and less for like glory or whatever. Like it's so fun. And if you're volunteering at CNE, you get free entry and you get free food. Like you get food vouchers, which for lunch and dinner. And if you know like CNE, like that's really good for like the 3 days. If you volunteer for all 3 days, you get free entry, free food. And that's just a pretty good deal. And yeah, the people at CNE are also like so nice. Like I do have to say, I feel like that is the best experience I've had. I personally had volunteering is at CNE because it's also just so much less stressful.
Yes, everyone treats like STEMly in some regards, as I'll talk about later, is much more of an intense competition. The CNE is as chill as you can be for an off season. Like everyone understands, like you're here to perhaps train up new members. You're here just to experience the CNE in some regards. So it really is pretty relaxing. Like I volunteered there, and the pace is very slow. It's not rushed. It's very different from like the high intensity panic of an on-season competition.
The other thing with the CNE is it's not just like made for robotics kids. There will be people walking around always coming and watching. So they're trying to show other people as well, which is why it kind of slows down a little bit.
So some other opportunities are actually coming up that you can volunteer for. The Stanley Cup and Overtime Sunday. That's going to be in October 19th and 20th. It's another off-season competition. However, sometimes this is taken a little bit more seriously just because so many fantastic teams are participating. So if you want to see some of the best teams in Ontario go head-to-head, this would definitely be the event for you to volunteer for. Volunteering is open. I'm not sure when it will close, but this event is hosted by Celtics and Makeshift, some fantastic teams from Hamilton. So if you are in that area, I would really recommend that you volunteer for them.
As well as just like Ontario teams, there are some American teams that come. Like last year, I think 2 or 3 American teams came. So if you want to see like, I don't know, something new, then yes, that would also be.
Yeah.
And then additionally, there's also the Southwest International event that is on October 26th. So again, that's going to be in Windsor. So if perhaps you want to make a bit of a trek, go see Windsor, go see Detroit. That'd be another fantastic competition for you to volunteer at. Again, it's an off season, so very much more relaxed compared to an on season.
There are also many different volunteering opportunities outside of just competitions. We had the First Canada Charity Golf Tournament, which is held in June, and it's just an event to go out to play some golf. Well, you're volunteering. You're going to watch some golf. And you get to have a good time. You get to meet new people. Volunteering is always just a great way to network, whether they're people from different teams or they're people just in the industry, like mentors, but you're meeting them in a different scene. And then there's also the Girls and Allies STEMathon, which is a 24-hour event to solve real-world problems and see what's going on. So you get to watch some really cool things happen there. You get to see people make some new things, try and solve some problems, and getting to volunteer there is also just a great experience.
So this and the previous slide are all talking about the various volunteer roles and positions. So there are so many volunteer roles for you to apply for. But again, mainly for high school students or FRC participants, you realize, oh, dang it, y'all have to be over 18 or over 19 or even over 21 in some cases. But that is okay because there are roles for people in high school. And like I mentioned before, there are so many opportunities for you to shadow roles. Like you may be like, oh, I don't have enough experience to be a robot inspector. I don't have enough experience to be a control system advisor. But there are people here and FIRST really wants you to be able to learn these skills. So not only can you shadow them, learn these skills, you can bring those skills and apply them to your own FRC teams. So some roles do require some experience before you become or like lead up to that role. Like I mentioned before, a robot inspector before becoming a lead robot inspector. But that's not the case for so many roles, and there are many things for you to jump into. So I want to actually go to the next slide. It's a lot of text. I don't know if I'm going to read all of them out, but specifically for our high school students, we have queuers, spare parts attendant, load in and out crew, field assembly, event photographer, volunteer room assistant, and field resetter. Out of all these roles, there are 2 particularly I know that you interact the most with other teams. Specifically, when you are a queuer, you are talking with teams, you're chatting with them, you're finding out what's going to happen in their next match, and you're like, hey, your match is soon, or your match is right now. Can I get you guys to hurry up, please? And field resetting, on the other hand, you get to watch every match, and then you get to reset it. If you really love strategy or just watching matches in general, you love robots, that'd be a great position for you. Some parts, like spare parts attendant or volunteer room attendant, definitely you get to talk with other volunteers, and that's definitely some awesome networking opportunities. On this side, these are somewhat more you need volunteer experience for, but ones that I think would be really cool, again, if you're over the age of, I think it's usually 18, being a referee, being a scorekeeper, like game announcing. If you really love public speaking, game announcing is a fantastic thing, and I love being able to shout out game announcers because you get to be the voice of the match. You get to bring energy and have people be more excited. So again, I'll leave these up if you want to take a quick picture. If not, just know that there are many volunteering opportunities for you, whichever you're interested in.
And just as Ren kind of hinted at, even if you don't take a picture now, most of this stuff is online. You can find this stuff pretty easily going to the FIRST Canada or FIRST Inspire's website.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to learn more, we have a QR code, and Jaylene is the person at FIRST Robotics Canada who handles all our volunteers, and she would be very, very, very happy to answer any questions that may be a bit more complex, or they're the ones that we can't really answer.
Yes. Here, did you get it? Okay.
Okay, so FIRST Canada Youth Council, that is us.
More than 3 of us.
Yeah. So who are we? It's us and 17 other members all across Ontario. It's open to everyone across Canada, but this year we only have Ontario members. It's passionate FRC and FTC members that represent the youth in the FIRST community. So what do? We are ambassadors at events for FIRST Canada. We bring forth ideas and issues from the community and from our own perspectives to the FIRST Canada staff, as well as we support FIRST Canada at comps and the youth summit and events like that. Next one is also me. So there's also some initiatives that we run, including for equity, diversity, and inclusion, mental health, and environment, as well as other things. Initiatives, example, mental health comes first, Project Green, and Diversity First, as well as other initiatives that we are still working on that are yet to be talked about.
I think Danny mentioned the Youth Summit. We actually didn't price on this, which we should have. But the Youth Summit is a really cool event where students from FRC, FTC, and even people who aren't really involved in FIRST can come learn, do some cool STEM activities, attend some workshops, and really network with other people and other teams. That is happening on, I think it is November 9th. November 9th at Centennial College. I know that may be far for some people, but it's a really cool opportunity if you'd like to just kind of experience, network, and learn some new things.
So we got a few frequently asked questions about volunteering because people may not know what goes into volunteering, and we want to answer those questions. So a big one is, can volunteering at FIRST count towards volunteer hours? Yes, of course. Make sure to sign in and out, as I believe Ren said earlier. Danny said. And just make sure to log those, because they can count towards your volunteer hours, and you just want to make sure that you're actually getting those volunteer hours if you want to count them towards that. So make sure that you submit it on your end as well.
You can get a lot of hours from one competition because you're there occasionally from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So that's 12 hours already.
And I think most schools only require 40.
40.
Yeah.
So 4 days in a competition, I think that's pretty fun. You get free food. I love the free food.
And we all love the free food. And can I volunteer at the same competition my team is participating in? You can, but you only get to be in FIRST for 4 years. Some people are a bit more because of FLL, or if they take a 5th year. But for the most part, you only get it for 4 years, from grade 9 to grade 12. And you want to make the most of that experience. So if you're at a competition with your team, it's probably best, and we recommend that you stay with your team. You get that more of that FRC experience while you can still be a student in it, rather than volunteering. As much as we all love volunteering, trying to be that student should come first. And then the last one are volunteer opportunities. So FIRST has them year round. Whether you're volunteering at a competition, whether you're volunteering at a kickoff event, or whether there's some off-season events like the golf tournament. There's something that you can do for FIRST all year round, and there's many opportunities that we have gone into, and you can look up yourself.
Oh, so this is the last slide, right?
No?
No?
Wait,
I
maybe?
feel like it is.
Yes?
So, okay, one last thing before we're done. I would like to add that, like, volunteers are like the pillar of the FIRST community, and
Yeah.
I think, like, at least my personal opinion is, if you're not volunteering, you're missing a really big aspect of what being in the FIRST program is about. So if you can't, obviously there's no one forcing you to. If you can only do competitions that your team is specifically at, then that is up to you. But if you'd like to get more out of it, then all
Yeah.
to you.
Additionally, I don't know if you also wrote that down a lot, but you make so many friends while you
Yeah.
volunteer.
Yeah.
And that is like how you can meet people from other teams. Like during a competition, I'm usually stressed about how my robot is doing. I can't really go around making
Yeah.
friends because I'm like in a freakish state. But when I'm volunteering, now is the time where I get to like meet people who have similar interests, people who do
Yeah.
stuff like similar to me outside robotics. We connect through that and then also connect through robotics. And now I have friends literally all over Ontario because people in FIRST volunteer all over Ontario. And it's really, really cool to think like, oh, I have a friend who lives in Waterloo. That's awesome. Like I only get to see them for like 1 month of the year, but it's still really nice to have those friends. And especially it makes competitions, even if you don't get to talk and make those friends, to be able to see a friend and be like, hey, I know that person. Oh, I can cheer on their robot during this match is such an amazing feeling.
And they last. Like, I feel like the people that you meet at, like, the friends that you make at robotic competitions and just robotics in general, they can last a really long time, especially if you end up going to the same university or doing the same program in something, or like anything like that. Like, they will probably last.
And yeah, when you are at competition, people are stressed out. They may not always be putting in that effort to try and talk to you, but when you're volunteering, they are trying to put in that effort, and you are trying to have those conversations, rather than when everyone's kind of like, I need to make sure my robot is performing at its peak. Because people aren't always the most willing to talk then as well, because they are focused on their robot. So thank you for listening. If anyone has any questions.
That was 20 minutes.
You guys all know?
We're all good.
All right, cool.